Hello. Welcome back to my immigration journey in Thailand. If you haven't seen part one of my visa, I don't want it, nightmare, all the things I've had to do, you name it. If you haven't seen that already, there's a link in the description. You should see part one. Where part one left off, I had a 45-day tourist visa again. So let's go now to part two. So today, I wanted to give you an update on my 45-day tourist visa, which got issued on January 16th after a border run to Laos and was set to expire 45 days later, which was like March 1st. I started the day by waking up way too early.
Time to rise and shine, dog. Time to rise and shine, dog.
Because over here in Bangkok, I usually stay up very late. 4 in the morning is only 4 in the afternoon on the East Coast of the United States. I'm used to staying up 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. So I got up at 7:45 a.m. and got dressed, took my shower, not in that order. I caught a taxi to the government complex, Building B, where all the immigration is. I caught the taxi at 8:15 a.m. I arrived there about 9:20 a.m. and I met with my attorney agent at a Thailand government-owned bank to open a mandatory bank account in order to qualify for a non-immigrant quote-unquote retirement visa. I spent just an hour, well, a little over an hour, with the bank employee, and I think I signed my name on more pieces of paper than in any business transaction I've ever done. The paper just kept coming. Sign here, sign here, sign here, sign here. Half of it you can't really read. They do have it in English and Thai, but the English is so small and there's so many of them, you never really actually read it. What are you going to say anyway? It's the way it is. I was given a bank book and a Visa debit card, but I had some trouble trying to sign up for the bank's online app. I'll have to go back to that later. They said it was the bank's problem, not my problem, that they were having a little IT issue on signing up at this time. After that, I was led to 4 different waiting queues. So we burned up an hour and 20 minutes of the bank. I went to the first waiting queue. Queue number 1 was so I could have my current 45-day visa stamp canceled. So you have to sit there and wait until they were ready to see you. Then they take your passport and they cancel that out. And then they tell you to go to another queue in another part of the building, and your passport's going to appear over there and they're going to call you. So I went to Q2, and that was to create a new 90-day. That was to create a new 90-day. So I go to Q2. Q2 was to create a new 90-day initial non-immigrant O visa. And I was told that was the best I was going to do for the day, and that in 90 days or 75 days, I'd have to come back, and then they would give me a 1-year non-immigrant O visa. But it seemed like they could do a little better than that. But I sat in the queue and I waited, and eventually it went to call us up. They took my picture again. By the way, they take my picture every step along the way. Then they said, go to queue number 3. So we went to queue number 3 and we sat there for quite a long while, and noontime come along. At noon, all the Thai immigration employees, they take a 1-hour lunch. All of them do. During that lunch break, they run everybody out of the place and they lock it up. Now you can go downstairs where they have some places to buy food, and the banks are downstairs and 7-Eleven's downstairs. So everybody goes downstairs. So it's just crowded downstairs. But as I was walking around, I noticed that they were actually selling these cute little electric scooters. And they had a real interesting green colored one. It was actually a 3-wheel scooter that was electric. And the green one was priced at 19,900 baht, which is about $603 US dollars today. And right next to them, prominently displayed, is all the financing. And they're just cute. So then I went and found myself a little lunch and at a place called Chester's. It has pretty good food, really, for what it is. So about 10 minutes till 1, went back upstairs, and I saw these 2 huge lines, one going straight and one wrapping around the inside of the mezzanine that they have there, with people in queue waiting to get back through the doors. I wasn't going to wait through all that. So I just found myself a place to rest, and eventually all the people got in. I went in sort of last. Went back to my place where I was waiting in the queue, and the next queue I was going to be able to upgrade from the 90-day initial immigrant O visa to a 1-year time frame. And that worked out eventually. And then they said, take your passport here. And my agent and me went to queue number 4, where we got to add a multi-reentry stamp at queue number 4. Of course, the mandatory wait forever routine was there. Now, during all this wait time, I mentioned to the agent that I would really like to get a Thai driver's license. And the only reason for doing this isn't to drive a car. It's that every time you want to do anything with a business, they want to see your passport. And that means you got to carry your passport around all the time. And they won't take a picture of it. Now, the police would if you have a picture of your passport, I've been told by everybody that the police say that's fine. They'll just look at it, and they can look it up if they want to. But if you go to a bank, you want to deposit money in the owner of your condo's account to pay your rent, a passport, you can't do it. You have to have the passport. So I wanted to get a Thai driver's license, and the agent told me that you need a letter from Thai immigration to take to the Thai driver's license bureau. And I said, well, that'd be good. I'd like to get that. And of course, that was an additional 1,100 Thai baht, which is about $30 or so. Gave my agent 1,100, and after I got the multi-entry stamp, she said, I'll go get your letter. Go downstairs, get yourself something to drink. I'll meet you down there. So I met with her. I was told I still have to do an initial 90-day address reporting. And after you do the first one, then they can do it online, evidently. However, they also told me, which I don't know if it's true or not, but the form for the 90-day is in your passport. And if I travel out of the country to another country by air before the 90 days expire and then come back to Thailand, that would eliminate the reporting requirement. Got all that information. I left the immigration building at 3:30 p.m., took a taxi back to a souk, and I arrived back at my condo by 4:30 p.m. Now, I've got a little backup video here for you. The expressway we take, that expressway actually is 3 or 4 lanes wide. And then there's an emergency lane on the left-hand side. And it was really crowded, even the expressway. So my taxi driver just decides that's big enough to make for a lane. And he's following somebody else who's decided that's big enough to make for a lane. So all the cars are just at 60, 70 mile an hour. They're just all driving down the emergency lane along with the 4 lanes of highway. They just do that. So I showed you a little of that. Also, when I got back to the town streets on Sukhumvit, I saw out the window just messes of wires. So I just did a little video of all the wires. It's hanging all over the place. And it's insane. I sure don't want to be a telephone repairman that has to go in and try to figure out which is the bad wire that the person's service doesn't work. I don't think they ever try to track that down. I think they just hang a new wire. If something's broke, we'll just run a new wire because we're not going to find out which wire is yours anyway. And we'll just hang another one on the pole. One more, well, 400 already. What's one more? All in all, I now have a visa that's good through April 24th of 2024 because they actually added my time for the 90-day to the 1 year. So they didn't just make me pay for a 90-day, then make me pay for a 1 year that overlapped the 90 days. They actually butted it all together. So technically I don't have to renew until April 24th of 2024, which will be a good thing. All in all, it was a very long day. I'm glad to have made progress on this immigration journey. For anyone else out there who wants to do it, I hope this was helpful. You cannot switch from an EDU or an educational visa to an O non-immigrant visa. They won't switch it directly, which forces you to leave the country and come back as a tourist. And then they won't give you the 1 year. You got to get the 90-day. And if your people are really, really slick at working the system, they'll figure out a way to then let you reapply for the 1 year and then get your multi-entry stamp. And I got my Thai letter. But after I got my Thai letter, now I found out I got to go to get a driver's license. You have to have a medical certificate, which doctors seem to know all about. 200 baht, pretty cheap, $6-7. They'll give you a medical certificate. I guess it says he's breathing, he's good enough to get behind the wheel. Who knows? So, thanks a lot for watching.
That's all, folks.